suspect. Right, now I'm going to share my screen, otherwise no point. And I'm going to share a tab. This one. Okay, I'm going to put that full screen if I can do that. I'm not sure if it's working, but if there's no one saying anything, it's because it's working.
It's working fine.
Thank you. Now, one thing that I'd like to speak about, especially at the beginning of partial practice, it's the I noticed and I witnessed throughout the years. I have noticed the kind of pattern in some people succeeding either before the others, or because it takes time, or kind of even before finishing their education. And there's a pattern. There's things that they're commonly doing, and I've seen also things speeding up throughout the kind of past 8 to 10 years. Things started to kind of really speed up, and the practice were changing quite a lot. So I didn't put it here, but it's like running a marathon. It's just very much you are training, and eventually you will find yourself in a workplace, hopefully as an intern, for an internship. We'll speak about internship in particular as a new form of selection for getting an employment, but. And then as soon as you are intern, you will want to be a junior, and as soon as you're a junior, you want to be a mid, and then as soon as it's the way it works. That's why, I mean, it's the way I've seen it working. That's why you need to, the sooner you change your mindset as, yes, I'm an artist, but I'm in a kind of in a race, if you want, or form of a race. I'm not asking you, it's not a form of stress, what I'm saying. It's a form of, it's a reality, and people are working very hard, some of them, to succeed quicker, and then it does work for some of them, but not everyone. Now, I've seen great success. I've seen people with loads of talent struggling to find a job, and I found some people with less talent not struggling. So it's very much a synthesis of all these things that I'm trying to expose, and it's what those people had in common, the one that has succeeded kind of quicker than others. So that's what I want to kind of first speak about, if it's possible. Now, you have to, unless you got the mindset already, you need to change it to something that is in accordance with the industry you're trying to entering, and this meant that the industry is expecting you to be passionate, obviously, by what you do, passionate by their kind of company, if it's a specific company you want to work for, and they expect you to work like at the maximum as you can do. So the first thing that I noticed in those people, and I'm going to start with that because I think is the most important one, is the consistency. And you will hear a lot about consistency in every level, but they were working all the time, as not, for some of them, it was really intense and sometimes too much. We got a few examples we can speak about. It's like they can't make a balance in between the work life and the kind of their own life, and then they end up working all the time, and I don't think it's very healthy to do that either. It's a balance that you need to find in between working all the time and having a bit of a life. So now, when I say be consistent, it doesn't mean that you need to wake up every morning and suddenly doing some work until you go to bed at night. But there's a common, and it doesn't work for everyone, but it's important that you try to work all the time in the same time, in a sense, like you could say in between 6 and 8 every day, I'm going to work on my art. It's not like, oh, I got 5 minutes and I'm going to work on it. It's not. I don't think, unless it's up to you. It's down to you to define that. I'm not saying what you should and shouldn't do, but it's good to have a sketchbook and to do quick sketch, even if you're on the bus and so on. But it's to be consistent, and eventually it will happen. And it will happen with consistency. If you try sometimes. If you try sometimes and it doesn't work, then eventually you will kind of lose patience. But if you constantly work on it, eventually it will work. So this slide's about do something every day, no matter what it is, no matter how small it is, and eventually, if you do something every day, it will end up being a lot, and this lot will be. It's not so much the amount that is important, but it's like the process and what you learn during the process, and then eventually you will be able to show that. One of the big thing with Twitter or with the social networking in general is if someone kind of try to find out more about you, and then what they see is quite a lot of drawing. Every day you draw and every day you post it, not by being obsessed with it, but it's just saying I'm doing some work and I put it there as a container of things that you can see later. So people will say this person is working all the time. The work, I can see the improvement. So therefore, the role of a recruiter to see potential, and if they can see potential in a portfolio is good, but if they can see a potential on a longer period, so okay, in this period of time, this person has improved that much, then working with us and a bit of management and a bit of kind of guidance, they can see potential, and I think that's what they're after most of the time. It's potential. Okay, so that was this slide. Now, I said that's, again, it's a mindset. A lot of people show their work to their friend, to their mom, not being rude, but they are scared to show their work to the rest of the people. As I just said in the previous slide, it's a very good thing to do if you're consistent. If you just do some work every now and then I don't think you show a very good work ethic. But that down to me. I'm not telling you what to say, but it's very important that you show work ethics as constantly working, at least regularly working, not consistently. It could be a very, very strong term. Now, get ready to show your work is one of the hardest thing to do for some of the people. I will have another slide in a minute, but I said get ready. It doesn't mean show your work. Eventually, you'll have to show your work. You have no choice. It's the nature of what we do. It's like we need to show our work and show our ideas, showing our style, and I said that before. If you do a lot of drawing and you leave it in a drawer, no one will see it and no one will care, and it's not a point. It's really not the point. You could be the best artist in the world if no one know it. It's very important that you stay in your mindset set. You start to think about, okay, it's time to kind of and show your work in a portfolio, show work on social networking, whatever ways whichever way you want to show your works, it doesn't matter. The best thing is to receive some kind of constructive feedback from people who will help you. I've got a couple of slides on that as well, but it's that you need to do. Now, which work we should show. I'll just put this image that I found on the internet, but it's like if it's useful and interesting, then share it. If you know, that's it. And if you don't know, just put it in a drawer, and maybe later it will be interesting for someone. So show your work, or get ready to show your work. If you show your work, you need to learn how to take bad criticism from people. Most of the criticism is good, is positive, but sometimes some people will get nasty or not really pleasant. So you need to take a punch Yeah, so long that you like your work, who cares? That's the thing. If you don't like it, then tell me why you don't like it. That will be interesting, and then help me to progress. But you need to overcome the fear of saying, what is the people going to think about my work? That's the uncertainty. We could talk about uncertainty in a minute. But you need to overcome this fear. If you got a fear, or fear is a big word, but like if you're a bit anxious about showing your work, you should say, okay, that's my work, and that's my business, and that's my job. That's what I want to do in life. So you need to kind of take in the face and move on. It doesn't hurt that much, to be honest. But so that's one thing. The second thing is, at the moment you're probably very precious about your work, but eventually one day someone will scribble on it, like your lead or your art director or whatever. It will scribble, it will say, I like this, and scrap that. And it's like basically scrap your idea and move on, chop. So you need to eventually, in the course of the 3 years you're with us, you need to give ownership, not to give ownership, but more like to let go the ownership of your ideas to the decision of others, which is a very, very hard thing to do. So it's part of this slide to think about. You take a punch from a friend, or from someone you know online, or you don't, but then eventually it will come from higher up. Some people will decide that it's not to their taste, but it doesn't matter. Need to move on with that. It's the way it is. And I've seen that all the things I'm saying you should do this is because I've seen that in people behavior that succeeded. So before I finish with that slide, that's another thing which is very uncomfortable for students, is to compare. There's people in your class or in the college are very good at one thing. They do 3D modeling like really well, and it's like, oh my God, I will never get to that point. And you start comparing yourself. So comparing could be a good positive or negative. So if it could be something that will drive you. So like, okay, I need to be that good. But it could be also, I will never get that good, and it will start to affect your health, and that is where you need to be careful. So, and you need to learn as well in that matter. It's like, okay, maybe he's good at 3D, but I could be good as well, but I decided to put my emphasis somewhere else and start to move on. You really need to focus on your art. It's good to compare, but not always that good, right? What I've seen from those people is that they contributed to the community, the creative community. It's a small community. It's not that big. If you go to an event, not so much regional, but even national. If you go for like we done with Luc or I done in the past, like for 10 or 12 years in the same event, I've several events, but like Brighton Develop or FMX or that kind of event, it's always the same people. You can see them all. It's like I always say, the game industry is probably 600 people that are active nationally, and then you got people gravitate around them. It's not big industry anyway. So what I'm trying to say is, if you contribute to the community, if you contribute to forums or to blogs, and you give your help, if you teach what you learn, like other people do in the community, then eventually it will come back to you. And don't do it for this to come back to you, but if you contribute, someone sometimes helped you online or said, oh, maybe you should try this software, or maybe you should do this, or oh, look, I had this problem. Then don't do it in a kind of a cocky way or in a very proud kind of manner. Just do it for helping others. And then if everybody does that, then eventually the community get better. That's the first thing, and it's already good. But it's eventually someone will say, oh yeah, I remember that guy done that, and oh, he's very active, and I know that guy, I came across that guy or that girl or whatever, because it's a small thing. And I'm not, please don't do it to the hope that it will come back to you. Just do it because you want to help others. And then and you will have it in return. So whatever you learn, you can teach it in one way or another, just by replying to someone who had a problem online, or by doing a video on YouTube that you just post it, not to get like thumbs up and 1,000 subscribers, just because you know it, and then you put it there. And then if you help someone, don't go and how many, I mean, you do what you want, but if you found yourself how many views I had and how many likes, then no, that's not the idea. The idea is just there, and then eventually someone may need it. And if I help one person, then it's a good thing to do. So, and there are many ways to contribute to the community. That is just a few that come to my head. But teach what you know and learn, because you're learning. Obviously, never. I'll talk about that in networking, not today, but I'll do something on networking. But most people, and it's just very on the side, I'm not sure if it's really linked, but most students, they will go directly to the lead artist and hoping to get a job, and don't disregard people who just enter the industry, because they know more about the industry sometimes than the lead that are nearly done with the industry. And it's very important that your network, and I'll speak about that, and you will hear me saying that again, your network is right now in a room, I mean, virtually at the moment, but on a Tuesday when you're in, your network is the person next to you, because eventually those people, they will find a job. One of them will find a job first, and then it will kind of give hints to the other one in the classroom that know they can do the job, and eventually it will cascade back down to you if you're very, how do you say, reliable. That was just a little bit on the side. I'm saying contribute, and then eventually it'll come back to you. I'll speak more about networking as ways to do that. Get organized no one will employ someone who's not organized. So it's something that, again, you will hear me again and again. I think I've done something last week anyway. But when I say get yourself a calendar, it's get the sense of time and what can be achieved. And that's what professional practice is there for, is to be honest with your skills in the time being. So being able to highlight your skills. This is what I'm capable of doing. This is what I'm capable of doing in that amount of time, because some people will take jobs they haven't got a clue, they can't really fulfill that in a time scale that they got. So get yourself a calendar, if it's a paper-based calendar or if it's something that you track your time with. It's something that I'm asking you to look into, and professional practice again it's all about that. It's not only about the skills, how you utilize these skills, and how this skill is compatible with with another student to kind of contribute, and so on and so forth. Make list of things. Again, is professional practice is to highlight all those stuff. So I said, put underneath if it works for you. It doesn't work for me, but for some people it does work. So try to get organized one way or another. It will benefit at least your module for professional practice. It will benefit you on the long run, and your employability is something that maybe you will touch on, or you're not, but you just kind of okay, maybe I should look into this, maybe I should look into that, maybe I should take interest in this, and then the list will trigger research and experimentation, which is one of the key things of your education. for the next 3 years, research and experimentation and production, but the key is research and experimentation. Become a documentarian of what you do. It's what I'm asking you to do with PDP. PDP is exactly that, is what did I do toward my career, my art, my employability, and then you need to log it. You need to write it down. Yeah, I put it a very bad example, but you need to some way or another keep track of all the things you do. And we'll talk about PDP in details so much that you're gonna probably hate it eventually. But it's all about taking track of what you do and put them in relation with your strengths and weaknesses toward a goal, if that makes sense. That is the most, for some people, the most difficult thing to do, is to kind of develop soft skills. And the title at the top is written networking and communication. Skills is one thing, but if you don't, if you can't speak publicly, if you get either nervous or and you lose track of what you wanted to say, and people gave you 5 minutes, and you mess this 5 minutes up, it's not going to help you at all. You need to get eventually, through professional practice as well as other kind of modules, being able to say, okay, if it's presentation to do, then it doesn't matter. I'm not going to freak out. It's an opportunity to give my idea, to expose my idea in a kind of structured manner. So again, the second sentence is be able to present an idea. If you can't present an idea, and now it's going to be very tricky when it's going to be somebody else's idea in the workplace, and you need to get kind of some structure with that. You need to be able to listen, which is not to hear, to listen what the people are saying, and to understand what they're saying, either by asking questions at the end, which is really a challenge for some people. Like, you will see every time we got someone speaking, that is, anybody got questions? People got questions, but they don't ask questions. So if you understand and you got no questions, then it's fine. But if you didn't understand and you don't ask questions, then there is a problem with you, not with the speaker. Maybe the speaker can't present his idea. Yeah, but so now if you're confronted in this situation, you get very tricky. So you got someone presenting something that is not coherent, and someone who doesn't want to ask questions. So therefore, what's the point for us to be in the same room? Now, just making a point. And to be able to receive criticism, which I didn't spell properly at all. Sorry about that. So you need to be able to receive criticism, but it has to be, obviously, without getting angry, as people just get angry. So I guess succeeding rapidly within this industry will take all, or at least a big proportion of what I've been talking so far, and including your soft skills. A lot of people overlook that and say, okay, I'll do that later. And and then I'm going to give one example. Luke will know directly who I'm talking about, but we had a student who was really passionate, really skilled in 3D, ZBrush in particular, and in exceptional work, really good. He's still in the room in the college and in the corridor. But he was so cocky, it's unbelievable. The person could see only his skills and didn't listen to the others' idea, or it was like the closest thing I've seen from I'm God. Anyway, very, very talented, and I was getting on really well with that person. But anyway, my point is not this. My point was, he kept coming back to me saying, I get always, I pass the art test. If you don't know what it is, Luke will probably explain very soon. I passed the art test, and then I failed at the final interview all the time. I get selected all the time. Final interview, I don't get through. And I never said that to him, but I was thinking it's because you got no soft skills whatsoever. You don't listen. You simply don't listen. So I know the last I know, he worked on very big title in game titles.
Yeah, he worked for he'd done some Sea of Thieves asset.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he's doing well, but he probably work remotely. I'm convinced he's working remotely.
Freelance remotely, yeah.
He can't work in a studio. People will kill him. Anyway, so it's important, and I know you're not like that because I had one in 16 years, so it's not many, but exceptionally good. I mean, the work, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that on every level. So that's my next slide. Get ready to work remotely is the way the things are turning. It's like it's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that the studios, we got a long list of studios that are appointing, they all consider remote work. So this means that you could work for a company that is based in Australia or the US or wherever they're based, without being physically in a room. But you need to develop other skills. You will probably have someone looking over what you've been producing for the time that you've been given, but it's also a self-organization. It's be kind of autonomous. It's another thing that we eventually will look into, and to have the right equipment. That's another thing. Eventually. I'm not asking that you should. I don't think you should invest in heavy kind of hardware and software yet, but it's something that you will need to see and research with the company that provide this kind of thing. It's something that is still up in the air at the moment, but I guess they do. I'm not sure if they provide hardware. I really don't know. They probably don't provide your internet connection. All this kind of thing is something that is not new, but it's something that has been generalized. It's become absolutely normal to ask people to work from home. Hopefully, we'll come back to some kind of normality. I don't know, but what I know is the industry might take the opportunity to stay like that, or at least partially, because there's many reasons for that. But I'm pretty sure that even if we go back to normal, let's say I don't know, let's say in January, I'm making things up. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the entertainment industry will stay okay. You don't need to be physically with us. We worked during COVID, so we have adopted this kind of way of working. I believe, and you contradict me if you know better, but I believe Twitter says that their staff gonna work from home forever. I don't know if it's the forever words they used, but it's like indefinitely. I think is Google as well, and all the GAFA. I think the GAFA, which is like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. So they did say that they're going that way. So I suppose they will be followed by big companies and big studios. So, but that is kind of something that I'm not entirely sure, and I keep an eye on that. It's something that I'm very interested in. And on the long listing of I got it here. I'm gonna read it if I may. This is something that, what do they say about? Just give me a sec. Sorry. They say due to COVID virus, role may be remote, although job description may not specify this. please check with the studio further information. So even if it's not specified in a job advertisement, they may ask this to happen remotely. So I think you need to keep an eye, just to kind of wrap it up on this slide, you need to keep an eye and to make sure that you do a bit of research on how the studio are behaving. Right, that is networking. It's back into the mindset. I go back to the original how I started. It's a bit rude, but it's the truth. What I've seen, there are two kind of people, and the one that I've seen succeeding is the people who are in between. The two kind of people are mostly in events. They just talk about themselves and me, I've done this and that and blah, 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 and they don't listen, as I said in the previous slide. And on the other side is people who just don't speak at all, and they do listen, but they don't speak. It's like, so we'll speak a lot about networking, because I believe is one of the key things, and the more people you are connected with, the more chances you'll have to get employment. And most people see networking as a very difficult thing. And I believe you have to make sure to know who you're networking with, rather than networking with everyone and everybody. But I'll do a whole kind of presentation on networking. It's an important one. I think it's my last slide, but I'm not sure. Yeah, be proactive.
Networking, Mars.
Pardon?
I think, like, you know, even more now, networking and communication in person and online is really, really key, even down to how you communicate to someone via email. It says a lot. So it's about having that like professional presence while communicating.
I did speak through it, like contributing to the community is a form of networking, asking feedback on your work. It's definitely a form of networking. It's no more important than sending some work to someone, to a junior or whatever, and say, what do you think about my work? And I'll speak about that. I mean, networking take a whole presentation, but it's networking is the key. And if you can't communicate, people won't kind of network very much. And anyway, I'll talk about it in detail. But what I've seen as a whole thing is the people who succeeded were proactive and consistent, alongside with all the things that I talked about. Like if you need to be proactive, and I believe that you need to be proactive to overcome some kind of weakness that you got. And by taking part in professional practice, which is not the most exciting kind of module, I understand that, but it's the one that will make you succeed if you do the right, if you take the right step in the right direction, make you succeed, and even make you succeed even a bit more faster than you would have done if you don't take those steps. So yes, highlighting weaknesses and looking at actions and putting them into development and look and have a tracker and getting organized, I really think is the key to all these things. And I hope you will embrace that rather than saying, oh, I've got to do this. And proactivity, it's I think is my last slide. Is you have to be. It's part of being creative. Okay, now I'm gonna stop this this recording, and I will probably start another one in a second if there's any discussion that we can do that outside of this recording.